I wish there was senior level finance leadership available for my business to help me navigate the financial challenges that I face. And that really stuck with me. I started doing research about this idea and I came across this fractional CFO industry. I saw real potential in this fractional model, and that's where Createk was born. I would strongly recommend the upcoming leaders is learn how to lead with empathy. It's really important in these days. We are surrounded by AI, we are surrounded by machines, and it will grow now. Like there's no stopping to this. It's very important to have that element of empathy, have the emotional intelligence. Your EI always be more important than any AI tool that you use. What they don't have is someone who can help them guide for the future, who can help them in taking their strategic decisions in the future. When we discovered this problem, when we addressed the problem, when we rectified the issues, in about 6 months' time, they were able to see the change. They were able to see the profit. They were able to see cash being generated in the business. What they lacked was a financial expertise of someone looking into what's happening inside of their services, what's happening from the pricing point of view. What they were confused is if the 3 locations are doing well, if there is profit on the books, where is the cash? It was a very simple question. But the problem was they had never looked at cash reports before. They had never looked at their cash flow before. All they looked was a historical profit, P&L. So again, with my involvement with this particular business, we implemented a lot of cash flow reports, a lot of forecasting. They actually grew from strength to strength within the same business. And they were able to, very recently, few months back, they were able to open the 4th location without really going through bank loans or putting in more equity into the business. When I work with these businesses, I don't see myself as a fractional CFO. What I see myself is an interpreter between the operations and the finance of the business. In saying that, I interpret finance language in terms of their business operations. I keep things very simple. I do not talk in technical jargons. For example, if I'm talking about cash, what I try to explain them is if you're spending $1 and if you're receiving 80 cents, there is a problem. I do not go into technical terms of cash cycles, cash conversion cycles, and ratios.
Hello and welcome to CFO Forum Australia. I'm your host, Amit Arora. In my day job, I work with CFOs to uncover funds in their cost base and unlock capital for the project they care most about. Today, I'm joined by Meenakshi Bhayani, a finance leader with 20 years of experience across multiple industries, and the founder of Createk, a multi-award-winning fractional CFO business for small and medium enterprises. Her mission is simple but powerful, making CFO-level expertise accessible, practical, and transformative for small and medium businesses. From closing the financial capability gap to helping business owners navigate uncertainty with confidence, Meenakshi's work is changing the way SMEs build clarity, resilience, and lasting value. Meenakshi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Amit.
So we'll get started, Meenakshi. My first question for you would be around your journey as a leader. Can you take us through your journey, your career journey? What led you from corporate finance roles into founding Createk?
Well, my career journey started in one of the most traditional ways possible. I did my bachelor's and master's in finance and moved on to doing CPA. I started my corporate roles very early on while doing my studies, and that really helped me in gaining practical knowledge of the finance industry while I was building on my technical skills. And since last 20 years, I have worked across multiple industries in both public and private sectors. Throughout my career journey, there were a lot of instances where I saw that the senior level finance leadership was not really available for small and medium businesses. And I always used to wonder, but I never paid much attention to it. I was just busy in my corporate role, just busy in my job. But there was one conversation that changed this for me. I remember chatting to a business owner And his exact words were, I wish there was senior level finance leadership available for my business to help me navigate the financial challenges that I face. And that really stuck with me. I started doing research about this idea and I came across this fractional CFO industry. I got really interested in this. I did deeper research. I had a lot of chat with business owners and I saw real potential in this fractional model. And that's where Createk was born. At Createk, I provide fractional CFO services to small and medium service-based businesses, which is practical, which is affordable, which is flexible, and which really suits their stage of business.
Wow, that's really inspiring, Meenakshi. Can you break it down for us? What does fractional really mean there?
Fractional really means part-time basis. A small or medium business doesn't really need a full-time leader, be it finance, be it HR, be it IT, marketing, sales. A lot of these businesses don't need leadership on a full-time basis. All they need is someone who can come and help them on a part-time basis, be it a couple of days in a week, few days in a month. And that's the whole idea of fractional. We are available on demand to these businesses on a part-time and or on a need basis.
Okay, so in terms of cost also then in that case, it doesn't cost them a lot, does it?
Correct. And it doesn't cost them a lot. And these businesses don't really have the budget also to bring in a full-time resource. So it really works as a benefit in the area of cost for them as well.
I absolutely love how you're explaining it. And the idea itself is very inspiring. If you can make services of that level available to small and medium businesses, that's really a noble thing that you're doing right there. What were some of the defining moments that kind of shaped up your leadership style, Meenakshi?
What really shaped my leadership style was when I stopped seeing leadership as a role and I started seeing leadership as a relationship. In one of my roles in a big corporate company, I was leading a finance transformation project. And I noticed one of my members in the team had really started disengaging and her performance had really dropped. And which was really affecting the team and it was affecting the timelines of the project. My first instinct was to go the traditional way of looking into the KPIs, looking into the performance reviews and similar levers. But something really stopped me. I decided to be patient and go the untraditional way. I decided to have a chat with her over a coffee. And during this chat, I realized that she was going through some personal hardship, which was affecting her performance at work. Once we started addressing the issues and once she started seeing the support and confidence I had for her, her performance was back on track. That really helped the team. That really helped me leading the project on a timely basis. And this really showed me the power of relationships. Results are very important in finance. Being a finance person, results are in my DNA. But what this really showed me is results are really driven by relationships. It's not the other way around. And that has really defined my leadership style over the years.
As a finance leader, you have worked across multiple industries. What lessons do you carry into your work with the small companies, the small and medium businesses that you work with?
The biggest lesson I would say is finance is the backbone of any business. Any financial decision we take affects the operations, and any operational decision that the business takes affects the finance. And they really need to integrate together. They really need to work with each other. Finance is not a back-end operation. This has helped me develop a mindset where I have stopped seeing finance just as a rear view mirror function and see it more as a navigating system for the business. And that's really helped me to provide the right level of support and the right level of leadership that these businesses need. When I talk to these businesses, I focus very less on what happened in the last month. My main focus is what may happen in the coming months and how can we stay on top of that. And small and medium businesses, things move very quickly. Even the smallest of change can have the biggest of impact. So this kind of mindset really helps the business owners and they see real value in such conversations for the business.
Okay. And founding your business itself, is quite a big leap for you, right? You were working in a corporate environment, and founding a business comes with its own set of risks and challenges. What inspired you to take that step, go on the risky side of things? And what challenges did you face early on?
In general, I'm a very curious person. Like, I just don't work inside of my role. I like to see how my role, my work affects business, what decisions we took, what happened before that, after that. So, that kind of curiosity, that kind of mindset helped me develop a lot of business acumen over the years, not just finance acumen. So that really gave me the confidence. And when I saw a potential in helping these small and medium businesses, which, if we think about it, are the real engine of our economy. They are the actual businesses which drive the economy. I had the confidence of supporting these businesses. But the main challenge that I faced early on, and which I still face, is raising the awareness about this kind of service being available for the small and medium businesses. A lot of business owners, when we talk about CFO or senior leadership in general, they hesitate in discussing that in detail. They assume, they come from a point of assumption that such leadership is only available for larger businesses. They are correct to, in a way, because this is a very unconventional industry, the whole fractional industry, and it's upcoming. So the biggest challenge for me is making them understand this concept and making them see the benefits of this concept in a way that can help them survive and help them grow the business.
So you're saying educating them is the challenge because there's not enough awareness?
Yes. And it's the hesitation. There's a lot of hesitation when you talk about senior roles in small and medium businesses. So it's making them comfortable that such services can be available to those businesses which suits their budget, which doesn't break their budget, which suits their budget, and which suits their stage of business as well.
And you've won multiple awards for the work that you're doing. So, how did you go about crossing that challenge, kind of crossing that hurdle where people don't want to hear you sometimes, to kind of creating that awareness, to creating a market, kind of developing a market for yourself and actually offering those services and creating a difference? How did there are too many challenges there? How did you go about it?
Awards really helped me in showcasing this industry in general. It helped me raising awareness about the industry. My main area of focus earlier on was communicating and networking. Through a lot of networking, if you start talking to the business owners, if you start understanding their challenges and offer support in a way which relates to them, which relates to their business, they were open to a conversation. So that was the first important step to making sure that they're open to a conversation. And then with a lot of examples, with a lot of case study, with a lot of right kind of questions of what they are looking and if I can help, how I can help. A lot of these conversations, keeping it very simple, keeping it very conversational really helped without going into a lot of financial jargon or technicalities. Just keeping a simple conversation and looking at it from business point of view, not finance point of view, that really helped me engaging with my early clients. And then it was just about building on that momentum, making sure that other businesses start seeing the benefits of this model. That really helped me.
Yeah. So I think what I'm hearing from you is communicating, networking, supporting them even early on, and really kind of understanding where they're coming from, from their business point of view rather than communicating as a finance professional, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So with that, let me go on, let me change gears. You've said this gap in financial capability, right? You're talking about that holds them back, that holds small and medium enterprises back. Can you unpack that for us as to what is lacking, even though you did talk about they can't hire CFO level leadership? But can you elaborate on that?
These the small and medium business owners, they in general wear a lot of hats, including the finance hat. Now they have brilliant ideas, they have brilliant products, and they're operationally very good in their businesses. But what they lack is a support which helps them look forward. They have a very good network of bookkeepers and accountants which help them keep their books compliant, which help them report on what happened in the business in the past. But what they don't have is someone who can help them guide for the future, who can help them in taking their strategic decisions in the future. For example, I worked with digital marketing business. They had brilliant product. They had amazing ideas. They catered to the market of what was required at that time. But even after 1 year of business operations, they were not in profit. They were not even close to breaking even. When I stepped in, when I started working with the business owners, we did a lot of digging, we did a lot of due diligence, and what we came across was they did not have the right pricing model. They were not pricing their services in a proper way, and they were kind of underbilling their customers. When we discovered this problem, when we addressed the problem, when we rectified the issues, in about 6 months' time, they were able to see the change. They were able to see the profit. They were able to see cash being generated in the business. And this is just the example of the capability gap. They had their books perfectly maintained. They had the taxes paid, their GST paid. Everything was properly done. What they lacked was a financial expertise of someone looking into what's happening inside of their services, what's happening from the pricing point of view, because the owners, they were very good in operations. It was their idea, and they were very busy in growing the business. They did not have the time or the resource to look into what was happening in the business.
Okay. So you looked at what they were doing, you looked at their pricing model, or you advised them on a pricing model. What were the results? What happened after that?
We just discovered that there was a lot of so when they were pricing, they were going by gut feeling. They were not data driven. They did not have proper reports or data to back up of how they should be pricing. So in doing that, what they were doing, they went with a lot of market data, what others were doing, or what the owners felt was right, but they did not have substantial backup for the pricing. So with my work, I converted all of their operations into numbers, into reports, to actually see what their basic cost base was. And from there, build a pricing model which changed with the number of clients or with the size of clients that they had. And that really uncovered the problem, and it helped them price the service in the best possible way.
Okay. So how did it help them? If we were to compare before and after, before they got that advice about how they were running their business, to after they got the advice, to how they were running the business, what was the difference between the results that they saw?
They were able to see profits within the first 6 months of implementing the new pricing model, which they were not able to see in the first whole year of the operations that they were running.
Wow. So you're saying there was a business who started after an year, they were struggling to break even.
With brilliant ideas, with brilliant service, and exactly what the market needed at that time.
And with the finance leadership that you brought in, within 6 months they was able to see actual real profits. Wow, that's a great example. Wow. Takes me a minute to kind of absorb that, but
And
it's
the
powerful.
owners, they had similar reactions in a bigger way. Like they were really, to be honest, they were really surprised. There was a hesitation in changing the pricing model. It was a big change for them, because all the while, even before starting the business, they had certain numbers in mind. It was not just the first year of operations. Even before starting, when they had the model, they had certain numbers. So we are not just talking about numbers. We're actually talking about change management here, which gets really difficult sometimes to implement and to get it across the line. As a fractional CFO to the business, I'll advise them in the best possible way, but to get it across the line is very important as well. So there was a hesitation, they were surprised, but then they realized the value. And when they actually implemented it, and when they actually saw the change, it was a very big business this changing decision for them.
Great. So now, when you go into businesses like that, small businesses, and you provide them strategic finance leadership, transformation leadership, what do you usually see in terms of resilience, in terms of decision making, in terms of growth? What changes? You gave us one great example, but what do you see happens in a business after they have access to this kind of leadership? How does their decision making change? How does their resilience change?
It just gives them a lot of confidence and a lot of clarity. It's literally like switching on the light in a dark room. Sometimes they see that bigger change. Again, I'll just give another quick example. I worked with a multi-location service-based business. Again, a good business, profitable business this time. They were doing profits. They had 3 locations already. The owner was ready to expand to the 4th location. But the problem was they couldn't find the cash in the business to support the 4th location. And they were in a dilemma of either going through the way of lending or putting in more equity. But what they were confused is, if the 3 locations are doing well, if there is profit on the books, where is the cash? It was a very simple question. But the problem was they had never looked at cash reports before. They had never looked at their cash flow before. All they looked was historical profit P&L reports. So again, with my involvement with this particular business, we implemented a lot of cash flow reports, a lot of forecasting. It did pause, it did delay their plan to go for the 4th location for a few months, to be honest. But what it did was they were able to streamline their cash operations. They were able to get a better clarity on cash. And that really saved them from putting in more equity into the business. It really, they actually grew from strength to strength within the same business. And they were able to, very recently, few months back, they were able to open the 4th location without really going through bank loans or putting in more equity into the business.
Wow. It's like you gave that, I think that example of switching on a light bulb is just perfect. Another example that comes to mind is kind of going from the rear view mirror to driving a car with a
Navigating system.
For business owners who feel finance is too complicated, how do you make CFO level advice practical for them? Because somebody who's already feeling a bit nervous about finance, talking to them as a finance leader who has such good expertise, there's a huge gap in terms of understanding of the subject itself. What do you do? How do you make it practical and also accessible for them?
So when I work with these businesses, I don't see myself as a fractional CFO. What I see myself is an interpreter between the operations and the finance of the business. In saying that, I interpret finance language in terms of their business operations. I keep things very simple. I do not talk in technical jargons. For example, if I'm talking about cash, I will not talk about liquidity ratio. What I try to explain them is, if you're spending $1 and if you're receiving 80 cents, there is a problem. Or if you're paying someone in 14 days, but your customers are paying you back in 30 days, there is a problem. Do not go into technical terms of cash cycles, cash conversion cycles, and ratios. I try to talk to them in a very simple day-to-day and a very simple business operational language. So what they feel is this whole area becomes very accessible to them. They're able to relate to this more, and they're able to ask more questions or explore more ideas because they can talk in the same language back. So it just makes things very easy to flow between all the areas, all the departments then.
Okay. And SMEs also run lean. Sometimes there's just one person or just a couple of very few people running the whole business when it comes to small and medium, particularly small businesses. And they also, they are reactive or they act after things have happened. How do you help these leaders build clarity and confidence uh, when they're already running so lean? And the environment is so uncertain, a lot changing, regulatory changes every day, there's technology that is changing. What do you do uh, about that?
So, along with keeping it very simple, talking to them in a very simple operational language, what I've developed is a simple mindset where I have a rule of 3 with them. If we are exploring new opportunities, we explore 3 biggest opportunities. If you're talking about challenges, we talk in terms of 3 biggest challenges. Or if you're talking about issues, we talk in terms of 3 biggest issues that are bothering them. So what this does is it helps them think and streamline the conversation, keeping it very simple, on a priority of three main important things and not discussing everything and anything. So that really helps us create a certain kind of vacuum where within that we discuss only what's important and then we come up with an action plan, a simple action plan which can be achieved, which is not something really over the top. The other thing with SMEs compared to bigger businesses is the horizon of planning. Bigger businesses, they plan for bigger horizons timeline wise. Smaller and medium sized businesses, they need to plan for smaller timelines. Sometimes we talk about 13-week cash flow. We do not talk about the entire week cash flow, entire year's cash flow forecast. So keeping things on a smaller scale helps them with the agility, helps them in moving quicker with the times, and it helps them with the clarity of what next few weeks or what next few months look like without worrying about few years or 5-year or 10-year plans. So that kind of mindset really helps and supports the businesses.
Yeah, so I think great. So I think what I'm hearing is kind of taking one day at a time, or 1 week at a time, whatever you may call it, uh, and really planning for things that are important. So kind of decluttering it, what is important versus what is not, and focusing on 20% that moves the 80%.
Yes. And it's also that end of the day, uncertainty, it cannot be avoided completely. But if we do things in a right way, it can become manageable. We can kind of foresee what the next month or the next week looks like, and we can be on top of the things then.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you've won. We talked about it. You've won many awards for your work. What do these recognitions really mean for you, and how does it help raising the profile of fractional CFO services?
Mainly, these awards, they're not just about the day of the award. It's about the whole journey of the award. When we pause, when we reflect, when we do the nominations or we talk to the judges through the interview process, like each award has their own process, or we talk to the clients for their testimonials or feedbacks, what that does is it creates a lot of confidence. It creates a sense of belonging in this unconventional industry, the fractional industry. And the award itself, it helps in raising awareness about the fractional CFO work and the benefits that it gives to the small and medium businesses. And through the client testimonials, it helps building that momentum as well. It helps other people see the benefits that already the existing businesses have received from this model. So the overall award process, it just helps in elevating the whole idea and helps me in advocating for the finance or for the fraction.
Nice. Does it also help kind of getting the word across about what these services are? Does it reach small and medium businesses better with the awards and everything that's around it?
Absolutely. It just validates the whole idea. It validates the work and it validates the efforts that are put in, that it's not just another trend, it's actually a new area within the finance industry. It just validates the whole idea.
So I think what I'm hearing is while you educate people, having all of that award and the industry backing it helps you legitimize these services. Is that uh,
Legitimize from new clients' point of view. They see it in a different way. They just feel more confident that there have been other businesses who have used these services, and there are very reputable judges on these award panels
right?
who have seen the value in these services as well. So it just gives confidence, not just for myself, it gives confidence to the new clients about my business, Creatic, about myself, but for about the overall fractional CFO industry as well.
About the service itself, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. How do you see the role of CFO kind of evolving in the SME space? We talked about the fractional, but there are medium enterprises. So, fractional CFO or CFO role evolving over the next 5 to 10 years. 10 years is long, I understand that. But what's your take on it?
I think we've already started seeing this change where CFOs are not just considered senior leaders of the business or employees of the business. CFOs are being considered partners of the business. We are not just reporting on the performance of businesses, we are actually driving the performances. We are not just telling the business and the business owners what happened in the business. We are also narrating it. We are telling why it happened, what can happen in the future. So that's a very important change which has already started happening. And I see that happening more. I see that happening in a bigger scale where businesses realize that finance is not just a back end operation. CFOs are a very critical part in growing and sustaining the business.
So you're saying CFO and finance as a more strategic partner, that trend is accelerating.
Yes, it's not just about numbers, it's about the stories behind the numbers, the reasons behind the numbers. And we CFOs sit in a place where we use our expertise in driving this in a strategic way for the businesses.
Do you also see that in the SME space, or is that more the corporate world story?
Absolutely. SME space, we see it on a fractional basis, we see it on a
Yes.
smaller basis.
Yeah.
But be it any size of business, if there is money involved, you need CFO like mindset. There are some business owners who are good at it, who are good with their finances, who keep on top of it. But in saying that, there are a lot of business owners, small and medium business owners, who are not, who don't have that expertise or who don't have that time. So if there is money involved, if there are finances involved, I feel there needs a CFO like mindset, a CFO like thinking in helping these businesses grow and sustain.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think what I'm asking is all of these small and medium business owners, their acceptance of the idea that finance can be a strategic partner, is that accelerating as well, or is that something where work needs to be done? I understand that finance understands its role. CFOs and fractional CFO services providers understand the role and the difference that they can make. But are the businesses understanding that, accepting that fact that finance is a strategic partner? Is there more education that needs to be done?
They have started accepting it, they have started acknowledging it, but there is definitely more work that needs to be done. There is a lot of advocacy that needs to be done in general for the CFOs, from the CFOs, of the brilliant work that they do. A lot of CFOs, they don't tell the world what they actually do. They choose to be in the back end. They choose to stay behind the curtains. So educating them and the CFOs themselves stepping out and telling the world what value they bring is really important. But there is certainly change that's happening. Businesses are accepting CFOs as a strategic partner and they see the value that we bring.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I think that is true across all the scales, not just, for small and medium enterprises. I think CFOs do a great job, but they don't communicate it too well. They don't communicate the difference that they make. So I agree with you. We do need to communicate that better. With technology and AI, and more tools becoming available and accessible, how should small and medium enterprises think about balancing, let's say, automation and let's say, for that matter, finance leadership?
I see is automation is brilliant. It's fantastic, but it's good for setting up or fast tracking processes. But it is the people who bring the strategy, who bring creativity, and who bring context to these processes. So, automation cannot replace leadership. Leadership needs to be there to drive the automation, to make sense of what the automation does. In one of my engagements with a medium sized business, I helped them set up automated reporting system for their month end closures and month end reporting. But that automation took the business to a certain point. They had beautiful looking reports, they had clarity on, they had very clear pictures of graphs and numbers, but they still lacked the understanding of what the numbers meant. And that is where my role stepped in. I stepped in helping them understand these reports, not just look at the numbers, not just look at the beautiful graphs, actually help them understand what the numbers mean, what happened in the past, what the future looks like. So that kind of expertise is where leadership is required. What automation helped me was fast track these things, make sure there are no errors. The reports, I could tweak the reports, I could change the reports with the help of a lot of these tools and automations. It saved my time, it freed up my time, but I had to present the report to the business owners, which the automations or the tools cannot do it. There needs to be leadership in making these reports more accessible, more um, more to give them more context to the business.
So I think what you're hearing is that you do advocate automation using all of these new technology and resources and tools. But there is still value in judgment, in intuition, and strategy that beings can bring on top of what the automation is doing. Am I hearing that right?
Yes. Automation can be your hands and legs, but the brain needs to be leadership.
Sounds
And
good.
that's the balance that the businesses need to find. They need to have the right kind of leadership to drive the automation and not just get things done through automation, to make sense of what's being done. And that's where people, senior leaders, will always play an important role.
Do you see the fractional CFO model becoming like a default choice for small and medium businesses in the future?
I believe so, and I really hope so, because I've seen firsthand the value the fractional CFO model brings to these businesses. Some of the businesses, they go through a lot of positive changes by getting the right kind of support. I would just add to this, it's not just fractional CFO. It can be anything. It can be IT, it can be HR, it can be sales, it can be marketing. When they need support, they shouldn't hesitate that they need to pay a full-time resource, or that their budget doesn't support it. They should have the resources where leaders can step in on a part-time basis or on a need be basis, on a contract basis, and help these businesses. So I personally see a lot of scope in this. And I would just want to add a very interesting development that's happened recently in Singapore, where the Singapore government, the Ministry of the Man Force of the country, Workforce Singapore, they've introduced a pilot program where they are helping businesses connect with fractional leaders. Now, if we think about it, a government doing this kind of pilot program just says so much about this fractional industry in general. They've realized how important this gap is. They've seen how significant this gap is, and they've seen how by getting the right risk in the businesses at the right time can help them grow.
Wow, yes. No, I get it. Let me ask you then, let me change gears. Let me ask you a question about the next generation of finance leaders looking into like step into fractional advisory roles. What do you recommend to them? What would be your advice to them?
My first advice would be build on your technical skills. Just don't follow trends blindly. Technical skills will always be the backbone of your career. You need to have strong experience. You need to have very, very strong technical skills and understand what you really want to do. Don't just go with trends. Understand why you want to do something. Do you really want to step into or step out of your comfort zone, start a business and help different businesses, or do you find your best capability is working with one business and growing that one particular business? So understand what you're really good at and not just follow a trend or a new industry that's coming up. Another important thing, especially in today's world of machines and AI, is I would strongly recommend the upcoming leaders is learn how to lead with empathy. It's really important in these days. We are surrounded by AI, we are surrounded by machines, and it will grow now. Like there's no stopping to this. It's very important to have that element of empathy, have the emotional intelligence. Your EI always be more important than any AI tool that you use. So it's important to lead with empathy. And it's important to have the right leaders and mentors in your life. If you want to go down the path of fractional leadership, have the right mentors, have the right leaders, talk to them, learn from them, and see if it's something really meant for you, if it's something that really suits you, and then take a decision.
Looking ahead, what excites you most about future of finance for small and medium enterprises?
Say the whole fractional industry. It's just such a practical, it's such a flexible service which is literally available out there for the small and medium businesses, which can help them survive, which can help them grow their business, and which can help the owners focus on what their areas of capability are without worrying too much about finances. The whole idea of fractional leadership is senior leaders being available on demand to these businesses, and that's really exciting. And with the right kind of awareness, with the right kind of advocacy, spreading the word to these small and medium businesses, it can be a very exciting future for them.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Thank you for your time today. I absolutely enjoyed talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Meenakshi Bhayani giving us a small and medium business worldview and giving us insights into what fractional leadership can do for them. I absolutely enjoyed talking to Meenakshi. I hope you like this episode of CFO Forum Australia as well.
Thank you, Amit.